Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. So in this video I'm going to be making some ball steaks for French steak repousse. So I'll be making a bunch of acanthus leaves here in the near future, and I have found that I really need to up my tooling game to do this specific, very specific styling of repousse. You have to have a lot of different types of steaks because you support the work underneath and then you hammer down from on top, and and then you flip the piece back and forth. We'll get to that in later videos, but for right now I need to make up a whole bunch of steaks for these upcoming jobs and projects that I have on the go. So we're going to be doing that in a similar styling. I've seen this style done before, and it just kind of makes a lot of really good logical sense to me. By Ironworks, I believe it is, Ironworks on Instagram. If you haven't checked him out, go give him a follow over on Instagram. He does very similar forging that I'm interested in. A lot of heavily inspired by Mark Asbury and like Tom Latney and Peter Ross, that sort of thing. So he does a phenomenal job, so I can't recommend him enough. Go ahead and check him out. And if you do check him out on Instagram and follow him over there, just let him know I sent him you all his direction or whatever. Anyways, I need to get focused on what I'm doing here in the shop. So again, go check him out. I'll put a link, if I can, an Instagram link to his exact Instagram handle. Go check him out. It'll be down in the description down below. And without further ado, let's get around to making these steaks. So we've cut a piece of high carbon steel. This just so happens to be a piece of 5160 or spring steel. And the first thing we're going to make in this little tooling set is a ball steak. Like I said in other videos, we will end up making a lot different types of tools, more fullers in the next video, or the actual steak portions that support for the veining. So draw that out square first, really nice and square. Just keep working into this little lower heat here. We're going to go to the flat of the anvil to true everything up. And then we'll get into some of the specifics. Or I'll start talking a little bit about some of the specifics here. So this piece is a piece of 1/2 inch round. Let me double check that. Or 12.5 mil round. It's actually a fuzz bigger. It's 5/8 round. Or what I believe is 16 mil. If I'm not mistaken, yeah. So that's a piece of 16 mil round and or 5/8 inch round bar. And this is 5160. So it's a coil spring, and later on I'll go ahead and answer this question for those that are just going to duck out or just skip ahead. We are not going to heat treat this. When I get this done, I'm going to leave it as forged. And the reason for that being is for what I need it for, I need it to hold material. I'm not going to be directly hitting this piece with a hammer. So therefore, it doesn't need to be hard. It just needs to be tough. And 5160 already has a lot of toughness in it and strength. So I don't necessarily need to take and beat this thing and then go ahead and harden and quench and all that jazz. It's just simply not needed. There's enough mass here to support what I'm doing, and the work that I'm working with is with small hammers. We're talking 8 ounce or less hammers. So it's really not needed for heat treat on this particular tool. Now you get bigger tools and you're going to be doing a lot heavier work. Yes, you need that. So what's the design of this tool? As this progresses, you're going to see what the design is here. And basically, we're going to draw out one end to a certain dimension, whatever dimension that is that you need it to be. And then you're going to draw out the opposite end to a certain dimension. And what I'm shooting for is 3/8 inch on one end and 1/4 inch on the other. And then vice versa, I will have a 1/2 inch one, or I'll do 1/2 inch on one end like this here, and then So yeah, I'll do 1/2 inch, then 3/8, and then I'll do 1/4 inch, and then 1/8. That's the plan right here. So this end of the bar, I'm going to draw it down just a little bit so it's 1/2 inch. That'll be 3/8 of an inch for a ball, and then I will segregate these two, and I'll show you how that works to lock this in the vise. And obviously we'll have to clean up the ball ends and make them all nice and round and purty. That's the advantage of this tool, is you have 2 working ends that you can lock in the vise. Obviously this is not an Anvil tool. So this piece is nice and hot again. Now that we have it to the dimension we're wanting on the one end, which is 3/8, we're going to take off the square corners. And then we're going to hammer off the facets of those square corners of the facets we just made. I'm going to do that real quick. And then we're going to rotate and lightly work the piece as it cools down to planish off that forging. You can clean this as much up as you want while you forge this. Really doesn't matter. It can be kind of as forged. Make it as pretty as you want to make it. But I'm going to stop with it there. I can always grind that in to perfect round later. Is perfectly fine. That's smooth enough for our purposes for this tool. So now I'm going to flip this around, and we're going to forge down this other end. I'm going to forge it down, and if you notice where I've cut off, I've got a rag here on the end, or hopefully you can see that. Get Mr. Thing here. We're going to take and eventually I'm going to grind that off after I do some forging here to get the outside diameter down here to 1/2 inch or 12.5 mil. So let's get this hot again. We'll get that end hot. This way I can get all the forging done on this piece while it's all hot and let it go ahead and normalize, so that way I can do the grinding on it. These are fairly quick tools to make, really simple design. And again, shout out to, I believe it's Javos Ironworks or whatever, Javos Ironworks. You really should check him out. And I believe he got this ideal from Mark Asbury, but you can't quote me on that. You'd have to find out from him. I just thought it was neat. It was a neat way of doing it. I was going to make hardy stake tools instead and use a lot larger stock, and then I saw this. I'm like, you know what, that's just slick. And you know, I've got a vise, so I might as well do that. And if I had several vices lined up, I could put stakes in each one, and I like that ideal better. Next heat here, I'm gonna go ahead and forge this down square. You always forge square to take it down to that 1/2 inch. I'm just gonna draw it back a little bit from the end. That should be good. Now we're going to take it to round, because that one didn't require as much forging. It's going to be quicker to get that to shape. Now clearly you can forge this to shape if you want, forge it to finish, put this end into a ball swedge and hammer on it and decorate it all up. It's just easier to grind these tools into shape. You're going to grind on them anyhow and polish them all up to make them nice for working with. So you might as well do that to begin with. So there we go. We've got that nice radius all up, cleaned up. On to our last step before grinding. Okay, so here we are at the last part. I've got a block in here, basically a radius block in the anvil, and I'm going to find a place that's roughly about halfway in between these two marks from the one end to the other. And we're just going to hammer down on the front and the back, just like as if you were to set down shoulders on the anvil. And we'll work just directly across that radius block. And now we're going to get it squared up here. Get it back to level and straight. Again, you want your ends to line up and everything to be in line. I might have to go ahead and heat this one more time to get that stretched out where I want. So hopefully you guys can start seeing the secret of this. This is where you can bite the jaws on and it won't allow it to slip one way or the other. We need to do a little bit more refinement of that shouldering there. We want to keep the width here in plane with the parent bar stock. And you don't want to take a double bite on the shoulders. You just want that to have a really nice squared up look there. And get that all back in line. We're getting there. That's pretty good. It's not hateful. I might do a little cleanup work on that with a flatter just to get everything perfectly lined up. Where I want it to be. But so far so good. That's not too bad. So now we just got to do the grind work, and then you can always just go ahead and give this a test drive. I won't give this a test drive in this video. I'm going to clean up the other end here real quick. Just for the sake of time, I'm not going to give it a test run in this video, but when I make my other fullering video, there will be a video out on making an acanthus leaf like this using this method, and when I do that video, you know, you guys will be able to see this whole thing in action. Okay, so clean up this last little bit here, just more or less just getting it straightened and in line. That's really the main key here. You want this all to be in line because you don't want it to be taking load. You don't want it to create stress risers where it's taking load from the hammer blows coming on top. There we have it. Before we move on, let's go over to the vise real quick, if I can stop dropping things. Okay, so here we go. Hopefully you guys can see how that shoulder comes into play now. So you can lock that in the vise. No matter how hard you hammer on this bit, it's not going to slip down in the vise. Again, just a super slick way of doing it. Just couldn't help myself to end up copying genius, right? So there you guys go. You got a quicker look to it. So let's go ahead and go get this ground now, and we'll finish it up, and that's where we'll be. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. I'm going to do this same thing to the other end, and then I'll probably come back through with a little higher grit sandpaper. This happens to be a 320 grit sandpaper on this. This is an additional step. You technically don't have to do this. It'll still leave it pretty clean, and eventually this will kind of just smooth up as you work hot steel on it. The abrasion of that steel over time will eventually smooth this up almost perfectly. But I'm going the extra mile to do this, and then I'll take it to a high polish later on if I feel the occasion to do so. But you can see how nice that holds and locks in the vise, and it's really a great way of doing it. So let's get back here and we'll go ahead and do this some more. So there you have it. That's as smooth as you need to go with it. It's about that 320 grit. Again, you can go over with a little bit of extra sandpaper, higher grit sandpaper, or you can take more of the same grit sandpaper. Give me a second here. And you could just go like this on it to help even out that finish. This is where it's helpful to have some nice 320 grit sandpaper on hand, but if you don't, bearing that, you can use that as well. So you can see how nicely polished that's already becoming. Tighten that vise back up. Doesn't take a lot of work to do this, but it's worth that extra little bit. That is literally as shiny as you probably ever need to go. Again, the steel that we're going to be working on this is coming out hot, so it doesn't have to be super mirror finish or anything. Now, if you're going to be doing cold work, you may want to take and have this polished up, because it'll leave a much better surface finish. So I'm just allowing that sandpaper to just kind of go over the entire plane of the tool, and that's taking off any highs or any of that rough 60 grit that we had on the belt sander, taking that right out of it. Nice and clean, just like that. So flip this tool back over. We'll do the other side. And then I have a whole bunch more of these tools to get to. I will go ahead and show the actual fuller, the leafing fuller, the leafing stake fuller, if you will, French repousse stake. Instead of just doing the ball fuller, you'll be able to find that video here on the channel. I hope you guys will like it just as well. So it's just more of doing this same thing. Of course, if you had just regular bit of sandpaper, this is going to be a lot easier than doing this. Just putting a little bit of hand work into it, like anything else in blacksmithing, really takes and makes a difference in your final outcome. Now, if you are going to harden and temper or something like this, don't worry about taking it to this high of finish. You know, you're going to want to do that after you harden the tool and temper the tool. You'll want to come back and, you know, clean that up quite a bit anyhow. So don't get carried overboard with this process. It can just really just go, it can just get out of hand. So, but anyways, I wanted to show you how this tool works real quick while we're here. Like I said, there'll be a forging tutorial later on doing acanthus sleeves. This here is a failed acanthus sleeve, but I can still show it anyhow, what you might do with it. Over here. Basically what this ball tool is for this, for making these cups on this acanthus sleeve. So you can come in here and you can hammer over this stake. Now, if you tighten your vise, keep forgetting to tighten that vise. And by doing that, you can keep working this lobe out in such a way that you can keep getting more of this form and more of that flick to it, which is really nice. Now again, this tool was meant, I'm going to use this in hot work, not necessarily cold work. If you're going to use these in cold work, you just may want to take that extra step and go ahead and harden and temper this. I'm never going to be below a black heat while working pieces on this tool, so it won't be an issue, but you will have to get some abrasion resistance to this if you're going to be doing it cold. So anyways, that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button. Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, we appreciate your support and sharing these videos around. And whenever you guys buy power hammer plans and ebook bundles, things like that, and support the channel and the content we do here over at blacksmithpdfs.com. So without further ado, God bless you, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.